Today we talk about what I thought about beating The Last of Us 2, Fable's delayed, and Kingdom Come where? All the
Oh, it threw me off so
Hello
bad.
and welcome and thank you for cutting me off. I'm Travis.
I'm Jared.
I'm Justin.
And today we have a packed show. And listen, I was just ripping and you had to cut me off. I thought I was doing good for once in my life. And then you just said, nope, not today, Satan.
It just threw me off. I wasn't ready.
Sorry. I was just reading the notes that you typed for Justin. That's all. But anyways, welcome to another episode of Nerds with Mics. This is episode 172. Thank you for those that are watching. Thank you for those that are listening. We appreciate your support. But yeah, we got a jam-packed show today. But before we get started, we always like to talk about what we have been up to. And Justin, good sir, let's start with you.
All right, let's start with me. We'll do the best for first. So I've been watching Severance. Are we all caught up on Severance?
Yes.
God bless this season. And did you see what I sent you all earlier?
Oh, I did. I did.
I'm scared.
So, because to your point, before you go any further, you had mentioned last week that the Rotten Tomato score covered episodes 1 through 6, and next week's, well, I guess technically this week's episode is kind of untrenched or
uncharted
unfamiliar
territory.
waters. Uncharted territory. Yeah, that too. So yeah, go ahead.
Severance is, if you haven't watched Severance, you're making a huge mistake. You should be watching it. It is the best show on TV. Nothing at the moment, I think, comes close. And that is a fact. I don't make the rules. But it's very good. I'm very stressed, but I love it. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I almost read yours. I almost said the next thing on yours because we all have, spoiler, we all have Severance as our first one.
Starting off, yeah.
Yeah, and I almost read Travis's. That would have been really weird. On this weekend, we watched 2 movies. We watched the movie Heretic, starring Hugh Grant and Sophie Thatcher. And then we also watched the movie Saturday Night, which, as you know, last week we talked a little bit about SNL's 50th. Saturday Night is the Jason Reitman movie that came out late last year.
How is it?
It
looks hectic. I'm not gonna lie.
It is, and it's good. It's not great. It's fun for what it is. I probably won't watch it again, but I'm glad I watched it.
Gotcha.
I thought the people did a great job of capturing the people that they were portraying. Philip Seymour Hoffman's son is in it, I believe is Dick Ebersol, and he does a great job. The guy who plays Lorne was actually, in my opinion, probably one of the weaker roles, but it was great. It was a great, it was a good movie. It was a good movie. Yeah, it was good. We'll leave it at that. Then I've still been playing Marvel Rivals. Straight up addicted to that game. The Thing and Human Torch just came out. Those are a lot of fun to play with. I will say this: have you played the new characters, Jared?
I have not. I did launch it the other day. Played for a few games. The last time I played a decent bit was when they added. Was it Mr. Fantastic? They added
and Invisible Woman. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the last time I played quite a bit. I need to go back and play. I do enjoy the game. It's just, still haven't played together, Justin, but
I know. Well, there's one thing I want to warn you, and that is if you play a game with someone who picks The Thing, just know you're going to lose that game. For some reason, I don't know what it is. Whenever a player locks in The Thing as their character, their IQ drops by like 50. So I don't know what it is, man. It's part of the game. I've also been playing
The Thing, Justin.
I did once when it first came out. I haven't ever again.
Did your IQ drop by 50?
It did, yeah. I've been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
What a name.
I know. Both of them have been really great. I've been kind of bouncing back and forth. Kingdom Come is like pretty not intense, but it's like the difficulty is a lot higher.
It's punishing. It is not a forgiving game at all.
Yeah, whereas Pirate Yakuza is like this fun, weird romp through like some, I don't know. Travis and I talked about this briefly earlier in the week about the story and like leading up to this. And I don't know what led to this, but I'm having a good time, so I don't care. I did try Avowed, but only a little bit, not enough to have an opinion other than I think it's good. I'm kind of prioritizing those 2 other games, and I've been playing some PGA Tour 2K25. I love golf, so I've been playing a lot of that and leveling up my player, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Oh, perfect. What about you, Jared?
So for me, obviously, as Justin said, Severance has been kind of one thing that's on the forefront of everybody's mind. And again, to Justin's point, if you're not watching Severance, it's a mistake.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we watch it together every week. I know these two watch it every week, but this season has definitely answered some questions, but opened up a whole plethora more of questions. Um, it's one of those things that does a very good job at not giving you all the answers too early on and then trying to create something. Like there's still stuff from season 1 that we haven't figured out.
Lost.
And yeah. And I will say, like, I'm not sure if you all frequent the subreddit for Severance or anything like that, but the theory crafting by the community on that show goes deep in some parts. So
I saw one theory today that it was actually in the form of a meme because of like people coming up with these ideas and other people barely grasping the show. But I guess there's a dental tool called a spade. I don't know if that's true. I haven't looked it up. I'm not a dentist either. But we know a week ago we saw the dentist type character with the dental tools, and I guess there was a spade on the tray. And then he went down the exports hallway. And if we recall back in season 1, Irving is painting like a madman to the song Ace of Spades and of the export hallway. So I don't know. That's like a theory someone came up with, like they're connected. And I'm like, yeah, I never would have thought of that. I never ever would have thought to like Google the dental tools on the tray, but someone did, or maybe they were just a dentist. But yeah, I thought that was neat.
yeah, and then like the last episode, no spoilers for this one, but the dinner scene, definitely the secondhand awkwardness and embarrassment of that scene was something else. Other than that, this week, so I have been playing, so complete opposite of Justin, a little bit more of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Still fantastic, still very punishing, but I have played quite a bit more Avowed than what Justin has, and I can confirm it's actually pretty good. There's a lot of dialogue in it, so there is, and it's not just like you get a cutscene, listen to people talk, you're done. Every bit of dialogue you get into has a choice to make, and that affects how like the person responds to you. But as well as that is however you build your character. So whatever you put your attribute points stuff in, stuff like that, gives you different dialogue options. Like if your intelligence is not high enough, your might's not high enough, your constitution isn't high enough, you just get blocked off from those dialogue options. But one thing I do like is pretty much at the end of every dialogue, if it's an enemy that's trying to like make peace with you, you have the option just to say, no, I'm going to attack you. And it doesn't matter how the dialogue, if you get as much information from you as you can earlier on, you can just choose to attack them. Other than that, not really a big anime person, which I think we've talked about on here before, but I have been watching a show called Solo Leveling, and I will say it's pretty good. I can't describe anything it's about without ruining anything, but if you ever decide to give an anime a chance, that's what I say give a chance, is Solo Leveling. But other than that, Travis.
Yeah, so for me, Severance, once again, Justin called it. All 3 of us started with Severance. I am very interested to see this week's episode. I feel like as shows do, but this show especially, I feel like each week's episode is really built upon the last week's episode and kind of up the ante, so to speak. I would say this last episode was probably the least anticlimactic, but it was still very good. I'm very curious what they're doing with all these different storylines. Are just getting wild. But so I've been watching that. Been watching Bob's Burgers still. I think I'm finally on episode or season 15, which is the current season that they're on. So I've been watching a lot of that. I finished, Justin, The Last of Us 2, which you actually got to watch part of me finish the last part of that game. Unfortunately, you had to go be responsible and go pick up your child from school, but but you watched from the road while you were driving, so not that responsible. So and then also I also started Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm only a couple hours into it, but it is very good. I was not expecting how, because I didn't play the first one. I wasn't
Did you watch a
expecting
video on the first one?
I did, yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah. Per one of your two recommendations, one of you recommended.
Well, I
me
think
watch
Justin was the one that originally told you to watch a video, and then you were talking to me about it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you should definitely do that."
Yeah. So I did that, but it's good. I honestly didn't expect how in depth that game is, just how everything works. It is that so many mechanics that they've worked into that game is just pretty wild.
Did you see the Reddit post that I sent you all a few days ago about how he stole everything from the guard, and whenever
Yes.
he stood outside, came back, and the guard was just sitting on the bed, like was like he even took my shoes.
He said, "Hey, where'd you get that?" Yeah, and then also I am starting. I re-up my Final Fantasy online account because I'm going to play through the 7.1 content because I'm officially unpacked. So
Hey, look at that!
Finally officially unpacked. So I'm pretty excited.
7.2 will likely come out exactly 1 month from today. It's predicted March 25th.
Okay, well, I guess I better get on the ball and make sure that I take care of all that then, don't I? So, but yeah, so looking forward to that. Outside of that, that's pretty much all I have been up to. So let's go ahead and get into some news. Now, I do believe that I have the first part of news, so let's go ahead and dive into it. So, I don't know if you all follow. God, I can never remember his name. I wrote it out in the notes. Kojima. Yeah. So he actually recently went and watched the new Captain America movie. And the thing that I thought was funny is that the MCU is currently so broke in regards of just like the story and just how they've been handling things so far, that he watched it and tweeted because he was so confused on when the Falcon officially became Captain America. He said, did I miss a Disney show, or like, how did this happen? Because I don't remember seeing this happen. So the fact that that you have somebody that makes games, the fact that the MCU is currently more confusing than Death Stranding is a problem, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Do you think we're gonna get to a point where Marvel just has to like hit the reset button and try to start a new cinematic universe? Or
maybe? I honestly don't know. I think it's going to take, honestly, I think it's Fantastic Four. It's going to start there, and then I think it'll get better after that. I mean, the Russo brothers are still involved in at least the new Avengers movies, but what happens between Fantastic Four and there, who knows what will happen. But yes, I just thought that was pretty funny that somebody that's made some of the most complex stories in video games, and some of them, and introduced some of the most wild characters in these games, being the Metal Gear Solid games as well, was so confused about how the Falcon became Winter Soldier, and so much so that he tweeted to the community wanting help understanding how we got here. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. Justin, you have some news around Assassin's Creed for us.
Oh yeah, man. Ubisoft, the hits keep coming and they don't stop coming. Assassin's Creed Shadows has leaked. Someone broke street date. It was sold. Players were giving basically their thoughts and streaming footage of the game from like a pre-day one state. Ubisoft was quick to point out that like while players are playing it, they're still working on patches to prepare for launch. In case you aren't aware, it's almost a month away, like March 20th is when this comes out. So like kind of sucks for these developers to have their game out in the wild when it's probably not really finished. I don't even know like how much work there is to be done, but they did say leaks are unfortunate, can diminish the excitement for players. We kindly ask that you not spoil the experience for others. I did see where the links on Reddit had been kind of nuked and were taken down. I've read through some thoughts that people had, and no spoilers or anything, but the general vibe is that the game is good. It's kind of like Ghost of Tsushima, but with better stealth, which is a-okay in my book. So I'm pretty excited about that game when it comes out next month. But it is a bummer that it leaked already for the people that are, made it.
Yeah.
I also have the next story. This one kind of hurts us, I think, on a deep level.
This one hurt. I was looking through news to talk about, and this was one I was going to talk about. And I saw you had it on there. I was like, good, Justin can talk about it, be sad, and I can just be sad and listen.
So Fable was delayed today, and it was delayed to 2026, but at the same time, we got our first gameplay. Look at this. This game looks gorgeous. If you're listening, I'm sorry, but like, we're seeing some exploration. We're seeing some combat. We can still hear that pesky music, even though I muted it. There we go.
There we go.
I turned the volume bar all the way down, but that didn't seem to cut it. So while they did drop it at the end of their Xbox podcast today, the news that it was delayed, they did kind of weave in some footage from different aspects of the game, different facets of the gameplay. And you can see some of it does look a little like, I think like the lighting there is kind of rough, but I'm okay with that if it's a year out. There's speculation as to why it was delayed. See her boot that chicken. Some speculation is that they're getting it ready also to launch day one on PS5. So that would be a pretty big deal if it launched on Xbox, PS5, and PC day one. But yeah, Fable 2026, which I'm sad, but I'm also not surprised.
R.I.P.
If it comes out day one ready to go, like no major issues, I'll be okay with being a year late.
Yeah.
But I know that's probably not going to happen. So
no, there'll be issues.
I'm honestly not surprised that this game got delayed. I wanted it to come out this year, but I really didn't think that it was probably going to. I felt like it was inevitable to at least get delayed once, So, but, if it's super polished by the time it comes out, then, I'll be happy about that. So, so the next news story I have is for those of you that were waiting and excited about the Wonder Woman game, which I actually didn't really watch much about it. It has been canceled. Not only has it been canceled, though, unfortunately, the studio Monolith, which has been been in business for 31 years, that was a game that obviously they were working on, but that studio has also been shut down. One of the spokespersons said, they're focused on building the best games possible with our key franchises, which is Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, DC, and Game of Thrones. So those are the things that they are focused on. Now, I can get behind Harry Potter. I'm pretty excited about that, but I also have some concerns about, because there's been a lot of speculation. I think they've even verbalized it a few times that they're also wanting to be really focused on live service games. So I don't know if part of that is played into this as well. But they do have those four big IPs, and that's what they want to focus on. So we'll see what comes from it. I'm sure a big part of it was obviously with this new Harry Potter show coming to HBO Max. Like, they could do something with that. They could also do something, obviously following Hogwarts Legacy, because that game was awesome. I don't know if you all played Hogwarts Legacy, but that game was legit.
Can I piggyback off of that for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
So not news related to the closure of the studio or the Wonder Woman game, but news related to Harry Potter. John Lithgow today did confirm. No one had this as a note, right?
No, you're good.
Okay, I didn't see it on there. I hate to ruin your story. John Lithgow confirmed today that he will be Dumbledore, and that'll be the chapter that closes out his career.
How do we feel about that? His voice just seems so strange to me as a choice for Dumbledore, but it's probably because I'm used to hearing the other one in my head. But
yeah, I'm excited for him to be Dumbledore. He's a great actor. He's shown his skills.
He's also the Trinity Killer.
He is.
Spoiler for anybody who hasn't watched.
You know that right away. But he's a great actor, and I'm excited. Now, when they made the original movies, there was like they couldn't have any American actors playing the parts because Robin Williams famously wanted to play Hagrid, and they were like, "Nobody take
Which would have been awesome.
Would have been great." Robbie Coltrane, 10 out of 10 also, yeah. But it does make you wonder, like, will other parts be kind of opened up to non-British performers?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, have they cast Voldemort yet? Is it Cillian Murphy? Has that
was a
been
rumor.
confirmed?
That was a
Oh,
rumor.
okay.
I don't know if it's
That-
true. I mean, this was rumored too a few weeks ago, and now he came
Yeah.
out today and said, yes, this will be the final chapter of my life, essentially, is what he said.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting choice. Jared, I know that your stories are farther down, but I'm going to go ahead and let you start because I have a couple to go as well. So why don't you give us some of your stories?
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much both. I have two on here. Both of mine are pretty short, so I can go ahead and knock out both of mine if you'd like. I know that Travis and I have both purchased Monster Hunter Worlds in preparation for launch this Friday. Justin, I don't know if you have or
You
not.
mean Wilds?
What I said? Did I say Worlds?
Yeah.
Okay, I meant Wilds.
I have purchased it through Travis's generosity and our game sharing.
And it is cross play and cross save. So we will be able to play together if that's what you're concerned about.
Good.
Perfect. But PlayStation, and I assume it's probably going to happen on PC and Xbox as well, but confirmed on PlayStation, 18 gigabyte update day one, which not terrible, could definitely be worse. But
I checked the other day, you couldn't even preload it yet. I need to double check tonight.
Yeah, I've been checking on Steam and still nothing yet so far. So
Steam doesn't go live until the day of, it said.
That's dumb.
If you have it on
I
Xbox,
made that up.
On Xbox, you can evidently switch to New Zealand time zone and be able to play it early.
I love doing that, taking those trips to New Zealand as an Xbox player.
Yeah.
But yes, 18 gig update, so prep for this. And something that I think everybody knew was happening, but finally got admitted to because Steam actually changed some of their policies, so developers have to admit to this. And I think it's something we're going to see a lot more developers opening up and being honest about. But Activision admits to using AI-generated assets in-game. And when they say AI-generated assets, it's not just like loading screens with like zombie Santa Claus and stuff like that. It's skins, camos, calling cards, everything, which is crazy to me. Fair that it's being used to create stuff. Like I could see that obviously with AI being one big draw to it as companies like cost saving measures.
Yes, but these are these skins that players are paying actual money for.
That's where I was about to go with that. Yes.
It's disgusting.
That's gross.
And the worst part is they got called out on it a few weeks ago. And they were just like, maybe, we don't know. And then Steam changed their policy to where developers actually have to tell the truth about that. Now they're like, yeah, we do that. So,
yeah, thanks a lot.
It's like one of the biggest companies in the world. They can't pay an artist.
Yeah,
gross.
Yeah, that is gross. Oh well.
You remember when GTA did their remastered trilogy and like half the stuff was botched because it was all AI?
Oh yeah, dude.
Like the signs like on the storefronts were like didn't make any sense, and yeah, disaster.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of, are you done, Jared?
Yeah, you're good.
Are you done, Jared? Jesus.
Speaking of Grand Theft Auto,
are you done, Travis? Huh? You done?
Yeah. I'm done.
All right, let's talk about our week. No, I'm just kidding.
So GTA 6 is actually set to introduce what they call Project Rome, and this could potentially change the gaming forever, which I don't really know how true that is because some companies are already doing this. But so Project Rome stands for Rockstar Online modding engine. So some of you may be familiar. Jared, I know you are. Justin, I'm not sure if you, but 5M is the program that you could download to mod GTA Online and also the base game. I had no idea that Rockstar actually acquired 5M
last year.
Last year. So this indicates obviously that there's going to be a move towards, making the new game moddable. To make GTA 6 an online version fresh, the updated would allow players to create and modify the environment and assets. Project Rome's inspiration is reportedly inspired by games like Fortnite and Roblox, which obviously have the creative modes, which let you make not only your own game types, but your own environments and your own stuff in game as well. They want to essentially create a metaverse through Project Rome with higher quality graphics and immersive experiences. Some features potentially would be map changes, new locations, user-generated content. But what's your all's thoughts on this? I mean, the fact that it will be natively supported, not be like a workaround or something like that. Do you think this is going to be something? Because obviously, GTA 5 is how old now? I mean, it's pretty old, right?
12
and
years old? Was it
yeah,
2013?
and people are still actively playing the online component and actively streaming on Twitch and TikTok of them doing RP servers. A lot of people I think about our friend Cameron that role plays as a cop all the time. But yeah, there's a lot of RP servers. So I think about like for that type of community, I think this could be huge. Y'all have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, 5M when it was independent was really cool because like obviously like it was probably a giant terms of service violation, but it was nice like having these modders who were kind of unchecked and could create whatever they want. I remember the first time I played, I got picked up by some random guy. We drove into a Walmart and then like shot a few people, and then drove off. Then he died, and it was really dramatic. And now like I just think like Rockstar having control of this, it's cool because like the masses will have access to it, I assume on console. But the fact that like they're going to be able to do some serious content moderation and block things that might go against like what they want to see in the game or maybe future plans that they have, that part doesn't really sit well with me. But at the same time, it's better than nothing, I guess. I don't know. I just think like how people were able to create like licensed vehicles, licensed stores, and place like entire map overhauls. And I just wonder like, will that be possible? So,
I mean, yeah, it's a possibility. I'm excited about it. Jared, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was just I kind of share the same concern just because they kind of had free roam to do whatever they wanted at one point, and Rockstar just kind of let it happen. Which I mean, in all honesty, good on Rockstar for letting them like do what because they could have shut them down, sent a cease and desist, everything else. But like, good on them for allowing them to do that. Which I mean, at the end of the day, they only did it because it was drawing more and more people to their game. But regardless of that, they still allowed it to happen. But I think the same worry kind of sets with me is just like, what are they going to be blocked from doing? Or we all could be wrong, and Rockstar could just give them free reign to do what they want and it just let them go. But we won't know until
I do think like
Yeah.
with like Roblox, you mentioned Roblox in one of those bullet points, how they have like people have gone and made like Iron Man and Spider-Man and like different characters. I don't know if Rockstar will let that slide. I think the issue with Rockstar will definitely be licensed characters and properties. Like you're not going to find any like car mods that change every car in the game to real life cars.
Yeah.
Because like I think that's going to open up Rockstar to just too much risk.
Yeah, and do we think that they'll be at a disadvantage because where Fortnite leans in a little different with actual license deals and partnering to bring actual characters in? I mean, I think based on the climate that we're in today and GTA being such a violent experience and more lifelike, do you all see them trying to have license deals, or do you think it'll solely be I mean, because GTA Online has been their content, like they will mod it, like they'll model it after something that we're familiar with. I mean, I know when they brought the DeLorean to the game, it wasn't necessarily a DeLorean, but you knew what it was. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think we'll continue to see a lot of IP, like things that are like IPs.
We'll see parodies of things.
Parodies, yeah. That's a good way to say it. So I am interested though. I mean, I did love GTA Online for a while until it just became where like I felt like I had to buy shark cards in order to compete.
Yeah.
But I am excited like for custom environments, custom game matches, things like that. I think would be really fun. Like, you know, that's one of the things that I actually like more so about Fortnite versus the base game is going in and playing some of the custom matches. Like when you have prop hunt in Fortnite, like that's super fun. You know what I mean? And I think about it, opening that type of stuff up to GTA, I think would be really cool. The last story I had for those Star Wars fans. Star Wars boss Kathleen Kennedy is planning to exit Lucasfilms at the end of 2025. She's actually been around for quite some time. She's actually been around since the ET days. While she wasn't necessarily the president, she was a producer during some of those historical movies. However, she was one of the ones that was responsible for giving us a new sequel trilogy, which obviously we know began with Force Awakens, and also series like The Mandalorian and Andor. So she has had some pretty good stuff happen under her reign. However, she is planning on exiting at the end of 2025, which sad to see it happen, but also excited because it makes you wonder who the new fresh blood it's going to be that's going to come replace her. There's two big names being thrown out there. Obviously, who is it? Jon Favreau as one of them, and I'm trying to think of the guy that does The Mandalorian, David Filoni. Filoni. Yeah. So what's your thoughts about, one of them two possibly taking the reins at Lucasfilms? Is that something that, gets you excited?
I don't think Favreau will do it. What would you say, Jared?
I said count me in. Either of them would, but if I had to pick one, I would say Filoni.
Filoni, yeah, all day.
Like I'm not sure if either of you watched Clone Wars or anything like that, but even for like an animated show, it was fantastic. But I think, not saying that Jon Favreau doesn't care about the IP, but I think like he's bought into that, like wanting to make it better. So
I think Favreau, this is going to be a wild thing for me to say. I'm going to say it. I don't think he wants to oversee the IP. I think he wants to just build tech and use Disney checks to kind of help build it. Like, and I don't mean that as a bad thing necessarily, but like he built all this tech for The Mandalorian. He built all this tech for The Lion King. And I think that's just kind of what he's interested in. I don't think he wants to be tied down, because if he takes this job, that's his job probably to the day he dies. Right. I just don't think he wants to do that. I kind of think he views himself as like a James Cameron type, who's like building this new technology, getting the studios to pay for it, and then like making what he wants to make. And I think if he can squeeze Disney out of some money to invent some new tech, and then in return he has to make a Star Wars movie or a show, he's all in. But like The Mandalorian, all of that stuff they did with those like 3D set things with like the big wraparound room, I mean, that was all like his thing, I believe, right?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think he would probably be a consultant, but I don't think he'll take the Kathleen Kennedy job. I think that'll be Filoni.
Yeah.
Or Feige.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. I just want a new Star Wars series or a trilogy about the Old Republic. That's all I want.
Well, I tell you what I really want. I want a live action Clone Wars show is what I want.
Ahsoka. Well, that's kind of more Rebels, isn't it?
It is more Rebels, yeah. Speaking of Star Wars, though, sorry to interrupt, little sidebar here. April 25th, Revenge of the Sith returns to theaters for the 20th anniversary.
I didn't know that.
Oh, no.
Very excited for that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and then also don't forget we're getting an actual theatrical release of The Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't know if you're excited about that, but yeah, that'll happen. Not excited at all. It's set for 2026.
Season 3 of The Mandalorian was kind of rough.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't seem super focused.
Trying to do too much at once.
Yeah, that's what that means, Jared. Thank you. I love you, boy. Love you, boy. He said, I'm out of here. He said, I'm out of here. Anyways, come back, Jared. I miss you. I miss you so big. You got a pretty mouth, boy.
God.
Anyways, let's go ahead and get into some weekly topics. I think Jared and I have something this week. It should be some fairly light topics, nothing crazy heavy, but I did want to ask you boys.
The look on Justin's face right now, because he realized that was the one section of notes he forgot to type in.
That section was not there when I was writing my notes.
That's what he said.
But anyways, what was it?
Yeah, it's almost as if we have a section almost every week.
No, we do, but when I wrote it out, it wasn't on there.
It's fine, boy. I love you. Anyways, that's okay. That's okay. We got enough to carry us the rest of the way through.
Yeah.
So my question is what's an animated film that you think deserves more recognition?
It's tough.
That you think is slept on? Or if you had to recommend an animated film that you don't think maybe somebody's watched because it's not more recognized, like what would that be? Mine is a recent one, so I already had one, which is where this question kind of came from.
Let's hear yours. while we're thinking.
So there's a new animated movie called, and I think it won a couple indie awards maybe, but it's called Flow. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
No.
It's on that movie streaming service that we all share.
Okay.
But it's an animated movie about, it starts off with a cat. There's no dialogue in the entire movie. But the animation is so good, and like the way that they animate the characters are so good, that you know exactly kind of what's happening between all the characters, even though there's no spoken dialogue. It kind of has the design like a Studio Ghibli movie would have. So it's slightly anime-ish, but it's like CG as well. But it's essentially about the planet flooding, and all these animals that would never normally be together get put in this tiny boat together just to try to survive. And it's about the interaction of like that and how they can coexist. It's just really interesting. If you haven't watched it, I would definitely recommend watching it. It's called Flow, FLOW. So I like how you both just had to pull up a computer and start searching.
Well, I did. I looked up list of animated movies.
Yeah, I'm struggling on this one.
Like, I'm not sure if it would be considered underrated. I definitely don't think. I don't know if I consider it underrated, but I definitely don't think it gets the love that it deserves.
Okay.
But Atlantis, the animated movie Atlantis, I love that movie. I would recommend that to anybody. But then 2 is like, either of you ever seen the Wallace and Gromit movies, or like the Curse of the Were Rabbit? Like that movie, like it's a dying art with claymation, and that movie, I love it so much. I love any of the Wallace and Gromit stuff. Did you happen to see the new one that's come out? So there's a new one out, and I can't remember what it's called, but the actor was awarded a BAFTA at the awards that played the bad guy on the new Wallace and Gromit. And somebody posted a picture and said that they couldn't believe that they would put a wanted criminal up on stage and give him an award. And it was pretty great. So,
yeah, I like that.
I'm gonna go with probably the movie Onward. It came out during COVID. It's a Pixar movie.
Is that the Chris Pratt
and Tom Holland? Yeah, they're brothers. And
I don't think I've seen that.
It came out during COVID, and it was like one of the first movies that like launched in theaters right when like the world ended, and Disney was like, this isn't gonna work. We're bleeding money. Let's just put it on Disney Plus. And I think it kind of picked up pretty big there, because it was like one of the few things we could do at that time.
Yeah.
But it's like these two brothers. His Chris Pratt's character is like this kind of like D&D heavy metal nerd type guy. And Tom Holland's more of like this reserved, anxious little brother, right? And basically they're going on this quest, and I won't say anything else about it, Travis, but get the tissues ready.
Oh, okay. I'm
accurate.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely haven't seen it, but I remember the trailer for it now. The art style I remember was very unique as well, and it's got a stacked cast. Honestly, it's got your girl in it, Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh yeah, she's the mom.
Yeah. Another movie that I had, and I think the reason it's slept on is because obviously people that wouldn't watch some sort of religious movie would never watch it. It as a kid,
I know what you're gonna say. Say it.
Prince of Egypt.
Oh, that's a good one.
Movie is phenomenal, but I think a lot of people didn't watch it just because it had to do with obviously Noah and the Ark and all that type of stuff. Not Noah. God.
I was like,
Noah. No, it is about Noah, but it doesn't have anything to do with it.
Maybe I haven't seen it then. I thought it was Moses.
Yeah, it is Moses.
Wait, did I see this movie?
No, it is Moses. You're right. Yeah. But it's really good. That was one of
Clip this for social media. This is content.
But Val Kilmer, I think, is who voices Moses. Yeah, that's what he
Val
did
Kilmer?
when he had the plagues. He killed more of the people.
Good save. That was a great save, Travis.
Yeah. But anyways, it's a great movie. The music's phenomenal. The animation's great. They remastered it, I think, in 4K. It's one of those movies that if you have a good surround sound system and it gets to the part where he parts the water and it's all quiet and you hear God speak, and the next
that
thing
is
you know,
Noah then.
No, that's Moses.
I know, I'm messing with Travis. I was trying to get him to double back into Noah.
he parts the waters, and then it's just like this epic music happens, and it's it's so good. But yeah, that would probably be my other one that I would say.
Would you all consider Treasure Island underrated? Do you think it gets the recognition it deserves?
I've never seen it.
I don't know if I've never seen it.
What?
From me.
I've never seen it either.
Oh my God. Go watch Treasure Island and let me know what you think. That's my movie recommendation for you all before next week. That's your homework, is go watch Treasure Island.
I can almost guarantee I will not watch Treasure Island before Tuesday.
He's just going to tell you right now, he's got more Marvel Rivals to play.
I do.
He's got more games to play with than anybody except for us, Travis.
That's right.
Oh
right,
my
Jared.
God. Let's play more.
Listen, I even got Travis to download Hell Let Loose. Granted, we still haven't played it together, but he did install.
Is that crossplay? Let's talk about this after the show.
Yeah, I got my Steam issue figured out, so we're all good now. So, anyways, speaking of multiplayer and playing with friends, Jared, what's your question?
So, my question for you all is, what is
because this memory has nothing to do with Justin, I'll tell you that.
Correct. What is your best?
Actually, it is one of them.
Multiplayer gaming memory.
Well, I can tell you one of them, and Justin already knows this because this story has been told multiple times on this podcast.
I know exactly where you're going.
Splinter Cell Chaos Theory.
Classic.
Doing the escort mission where you had to protect the president and escort him back.
Vice president.
Vice president. Yeah, we failed many times. And then
basically
the one
insignificant.
Yeah. So that's the way he treated him, because we got all the way back to where our objective was about to be over, and he just headshots the vice president. And I was so mad that I immediately disconnected.
We didn't play games for like 20 years.
Yeah, dude. And I wasn't going to say that's my favorite, but it's one of the ones that stuck with me the longest.
That's a good one. That's a great one.
But yeah, so there's that. But I'll let you all go while I think of another.
Justin?
I've said this one on the show before, but it's just so good. When Rust first came out, okay? Have you both of you played Rust before?
Is it because you shit in your hand and threw it at somebody? Is that
That's
why?
not something you can do. You played Rust, right, Jared?
Yeah.
So this was what they call, I think, Legacy Rust now. This is before the update and what the game is now. And I booted into the game. It was like pitch black. I'm walking along the road and I find a box with a gun in it. And I'm like, oh, like I have a gun now. Like, this is the best, right? I can totally fend off anybody in the server. But I noticed my health and my hunger were depleting. I was hungry and I couldn't find any animals. But I see these two guys and I go up to him and I shoot one of them dead. I shoot him and I kill him. And I immediately get in voice chat and to his friends. And I go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm just hungry. I need food. I'm so sorry. And the guy was just like, don't worry about it, man. Like, I don't even know that guy. And I'm rifling through the guy's stuff. He's like, yeah, he's got food. I'm sure. Take it. I'm rifling through the guy's stuff. And then the guy shoots me in the head and kills me. But I remember just like the desperation in my voice. Like I was truly hungry, even though I could just get up and get a snack. But I was like, please, I'm so hungry. I need food. I'm sorry.
I only shot him because I need food.
I know. It felt like I was like truly trying to survive. But man, it was a good time.
Yeah. I have a couple more. Go ahead, Jared. What's one of yours?
So one of mine is either, and this applies to two different games, but The Forest and Sons of the Forest is just, no matter who you're playing with, because I've played with a few different groups, but when you think you're safe in your base and then all of a sudden it's nighttime and then everybody immediately just starts panicking when you start hearing cannibals just shuffling around outside your base. And it's just pitch black except for torches, and you don't know if they're inside your base, you don't know if they're outside. And like, it's that feeling of actual, like, oh God, are they in here? And it's especially like when you first start, because you might have like a sharpened stick that you call a spear or a rock, right? And like, how are you going to fend off 10 cannibals with a rock, right? And just everybody's fear and desperation in their voice, and like everybody trying to work together, but also not die at the same time.
Yeah, that was actually going to be one of mine, was The Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Just the multiplayer aspect of exploring caves together. not
Oh,
knowing what
that
you're going to find.
you just reminded me of another story. So
And the first time I was ever encountered by the thing that had like 8 legs and babies all over it, not a great experience. And being in a group that witnessed that all at the same time for the first time was pretty unreal. I think for me, another memory. Go ahead before I move on from the forest. What was the other thing you were going to say?
So my friend Caden and I think it was me, Cameron, and Caden were the ones playing. We go into this cave, and the entire purpose of this cave was to get we now granted I had to look up a guide. Not proud of it, but I did have to look up a guide of where we need to go to get. So you need a grappling hook to progress the story. And this whole time we were like, okay, it's in this cave. Well, what the guide doesn't tell you is as soon as you go in this cave, there's just everywhere, like the baby monsters and like everything's just everywhere. And the thing that has like fingers for teeth in its stomach. But so we're going through here. We're trying not to die. Of course, we're panicking. We're throwing everything we have at these things. We're all almost dead, like running out of health. We're out of food, no bandages, nothing. We finally get to the end of it. Cameron and I pick up the grappling hook. We think Caden does. We jump off, and it's like, okay, everybody just use your grappling hook. We can just go out the exit. We're good. And immediately the words out of Caden's mouth are, wait, what grappling hook?
And then
So
he
we ran
jumps.
through. He jumps, hits the bottom, doesn't have a grappling hook to get out. So we have to run him back through the entire thing a second time when we have nothing left just to get him the grappling hook to get out. And
You couldn't have
I
just
was
climbed up
ready to
grappling hook?
murder him. No, you
couldn't
can't
have
go back up the way you came down. There's an exit side, but you had to go back through the cave to get back to the grappling hook.
Yeah, that's rough. I would say two memories that pop up. The first one I'll briefly mention just because it was the very first time playing Halo in co-op. Being able to like one person drive the warthog while the other person's in the back like shooting out, like, and then eventually getting to where you could have like a whole squad in your warthog, like that type of co-op for me I felt like was like very cool for the first time. And then lastly, the very first time I played Daisy when it was a mod. That would be that would probably be the other thing, because I remember I was playing with my friend Alex, and we had not really ever played a game like that, because that honestly was probably one of the first survival type of games I'd ever played before, where you had to like worry about like zombies, but also being hungry and this and that, not knowing where you were. Well, anyways, him and I were finally met up, because when you dropped into that game, kind of like Rust, like you don't. Well, I don't know if Rust, if you play with somebody, if you drop in together, if you have to find each other. I'm not sure how that
Find each
works.
other.
Yeah, that's how DayZ was originally. I don't know if it's still that way, but you had your compass and that was it. And you had to like be like, oh, well, this is what I see around me. So we like spent all this time trying to find each other.
Daisy's an Arma mod, isn't it?
It was initially. Now it's a
Now
standalone.
it's a separate game.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, when it became a separate, like its own game, it was not nearly as good as what the mod was with Arma, in my opinion. But anyways, that's when I kind of dropped off, is when it became its own game. But anyways, I remember Alex and I were like trucking through this field, and you knew that if you heard a vehicle of any kind in that game, that somebody was well off better than you were, because it took a lot to get a vehicle of some kind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember we're running through this field with no cover, and we hear a helicopter. And we just like, we were like booking it to the tree line, and we just dropped down. And I'll never forget the feeling, kind of like you were talking about the desperation, but it was more so the panic of like, if they see, because it was permadeath, obviously. So if they see you, you're dead. And it's that whole like, well, if you see somebody, are they going to be a complete dick or whatever? But when you hear somebody in a helicopter and you know that they've done some work to get to that point, I just never forget the fear that we felt. It was just like so hyper realistic. Like I was playing a game, but I feared for my life, my virtual life. But that was probably the other one that I had. What about you guys? Any more?
Guess not.
Yeah, no, that's fine if you don't have any more. But
I mean, other than that, like just the like being in middle school was whenever like Call of Duty Black Ops 2 came out, which I think that's kind of why it's still to this day one of my favorite games. It's just because like getting out of school, going home, immediately turning on the Xbox 360 and just everybody being on in party chat because, of course, at this point, like none of us had jobs or anything like that, and just being able to go home and play games. Or as weird as it sounds, was not saying COVID was a good time, but Warzone during COVID, when everybody was off work and stuff like that, was definitely fun as well.
Yeah. I will say one thing I find interesting, and maybe this is a topic for another show. But one thing I find interesting is back in the original Xbox Live days and just back in the online days, I was also younger then, obviously. But how much easier it was for me to go into a random party with people, meet people, friend them, have conversations with them. You know what I mean? People that like I still have on my friends list today that I haven't talked to in years. And now if you ask me to get on Hell Let Loose and actually talk to strangers to work towards a common goal, I don't want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I've always found that strange. Like there were a couple people that I met on Xbox Live that I actually went and met in person, like meeting them from like playing Dead or Alive online, Soldier of Fortune, like, you know what I mean? But it's like that type of game, like that type of community for me doesn't exist anymore. And I don't know if that's because obviously I'm 40 now, or if I just don't have the same, I'm not real sure. But anyways, that might be a topic for another day, just because I always find it interesting that like back then it was great getting to meet people online and new people and stuff like that. But now it's like, I only want to play with people that I know online. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like if some rando
like
joins
Justin,
in,
he doesn't even want to play with us. He just wants to play with other people he knows.
Let's play Rivals tonight. I don't know exactly what time, but later.
There it is.
There it is.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna
hide
offline. I don't know when.
Or whenever I text me, not tonight. I'm so tired. I can't.
Wait, when did you text that? Was that Thursday? Was that Severance night?
You all can talk about this offline.
Can't do
no,
it.
We're hashing this out right now in front of everybody.
Well, yes. we're about to get into because I think we're good enough that we don't need a mystery topic. But do y'all want it? Do you all like mystery topics?
I like the mystery topics.
Or do you want hot takes? What do you want?
Ooh, I'll let Justin pick.
Oh, I don't want to pick.
Nope, you're picking. Congratulations.
Oh, okay.
Well, I pick what I'm looking forward to then. No, just kidding.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I don't want to pick one.
No, we're good. Okay, let's talk about what we're looking forward to. I didn't miss that section this week, so yeah. So what do you?
Robot.
Oh, am I? Is it good now?
You're not anymore. Now you sound good. You I missed like a whole something there.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about looking ahead and what we're looking forward to. So,
which I think Justin, we're all going to share a pretty similar section to what we've been up to as well. So,
yeah, Jared, you can go ahead and start us off. Actually,
I think Justin just died, didn't he?
I don't know. You guys, I heard that, but you guys are really lagging. And since it's both of you, it's probably me.
It's him. Yeah, he just died.
You're pixelated.
Oh, he's back. Maybe.
There he is.
Okay.
All right. Well, Jared, so go ahead and start us off, Jared.
Anyways, this week, which not gonna. I'm sure you already heard me say. A lot of us seem to share the same sentiment, but looking forward this week, Monster Hunter Wilds. I never really got a chance to play Worlds whenever it was out. I'm very much looking forward to being able to kind of play through this game as like an experience from start to end. Hopefully, we can get a group together to play. I think that would be a good time, but Monster Hunter Wilds is definitely what I'm looking forward to this week.
Okay. All right, Justin, before you completely drop off the map, what about you?
Am I back? Is everything good for
me?
Nah,
you're good. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. What I was saying is both of you were like garbled up and like not moving, and I couldn't hear you. I said, since it's both of you, it's probably me that's having the problem. Yeah. And it turns out it was me. Monster Hunter Wilds and Severance. Can't wait for both of them. I'm really excited.
Okay. Yep. For me, it's going to have to be Monster Hunter Wilds, obviously. And then also, there's a game that I actually didn't know anything about, and I actually saw a random ad, and I looked it up, and there's a demo. So I'm going to try to download the demo, but it looked pretty cool, but it's called Roadcraft. And it looks like a rebuilding simulator. So and it has to do with like heavy machinery. So you go to, there's 8 different maps around the world that you go to, and they're pretty large maps. I think they said each map is up to 4 kilometers, and it's 4-player co-op, but you go to these places that have just experienced like disasters, and you're rebuilding roads, you're rebuilding bridges, like you're doing all kinds of stuff. And it looks really cool. I think on PlayStation it's $40. On Steam, I'm not sure how much it is. Probably the same.
$40 on Steam as well.
Yeah, but the demo's out, so I'm going to download it and try it out. But it looks really cool.
Is this by the same people who made like the? There was a game that came out, I think Mud Runner or something like that. It was like an off-road simulator. Looks very similar.
Yeah, but it looks really neat. It looks really cool. So, and you can even do like you can even do a thing where you go into like this certain mode where it pulls out of the map, and you're like plotting where each vehicle needs to go and all that other stuff. It looks really cool. But yeah. Outside of that, that is it. But now it is time to get into the picks of the week. And I'm going to go last because I'm going to actually talk a little bit about mine. So, Justin, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Yeah, my pick of the week is one of the movies I mentioned earlier, Heretic. It stars, like I said, Hugh Grant and Sophie Thatcher. And the best way I could describe this movie is if Quentin Tarantino decided to make a movie about two Mormon girls who go door to door and try to recruit people to become Mormons. It was really, really good. It kept us pretty entertained and on the edge of our seat for the majority of the movie. Everything okay over there?
Yeah, Jared.
Something just fell off my desk. I don't know what it was. It'll be all right.
It'll be all right. But just really, really good. Hugh Grant, I mean, this might be the best role of his career. He crushes this performance. I highly recommend it.
How'd you feel whenever you saw that blueberry candle?
Oh, man, that's spoilers. I didn't say it. Don't say it. Don't say anything. Or has everyone seen it?
Not going to say anything else, but I've
not seen it yet.
How'd you feel, Justin?
Bad, but I figured I was going to feel bad the whole time.
It is. That movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
Is it better than Hereditary?
I don't know if it's better than Hereditary, but I think I liked it more than Hereditary.
What about Midsummer?
I haven't seen that one.
Ooh,
you haven't seen Midsummer?
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Midsummer is...
No, imagine if watched it without me and didn't invite me, so I never
imagine if she watched Midsummer by herself?
With some friends, yeah.
I was going to say, bold move, Cotton.
Just imagine like Far Cry 5, but a movie, and that's what Midsummer is.
Okay.
But more extreme.
That's a good example. That is probably like one of the hardest opening scenes to a movie I've ever had to watch.
Oh, I might watch hard. I might watch it.
You at first, like, just the way the camera angle is, at first you're like, "Huh, that's weird," and then you're, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. All right, Jared. What about you, buddy?
Pick of the week for me this week is Avowed. Like I said, been playing quite a bit of it, and it scratches that Skyrim itch that usually I just have to reinstall Skyrim to scratch that itch for. I'm not going to say it takes the spot as better than Skyrim in my mind just yet, and I don't think it ever will, so I'll just go ahead and get that out of the way now. But as of right now, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and just being able to, like, the different weapon options there are. Like, right now, I am playing a wizard. I have a wand and a spell book for one of my loadouts, and I can tap left alt, and I just pull out a musket. So it's definitely, it gives you plenty of options as ways to play. And, like, there's different spell books you can get that unlock different spell abilities. Like, I've went from one where it was like a fireball and ice ball and stuff like that, to now I have, the spell book I have now is all about summoning weapons. So I can summon a poison bow, I can summon a fire staff. But just the options for ways to play that game are very nice. And there's enough content there so far, and it's every small decision you make can affect the overall outcome of something large that's happening. Which I can't give you an example of it because obviously if you haven't played through it yet, there's a couple things you'll do in the second zone that affect what happens when we finish out the second zone. So,
yeah. Okay. Cool. So for me, it's actually Last of Us 2.
So proud of you for finishing that game.
I know I have to give Justin credit. I know that I gave Justin a lot of shit about. He asked me if it was. Well, I think we had a conversation.
Perk up. Look how proud he is down there, Travis. Look
at
him.
We did have the conversation. He said, I think it's probably the best video game that's been made in the last 4 years. I think he said, or a comment similar to that. While I won't say that that it's the best video game, I will say that by the end of the game, my tune and completely changed. I don't want to get too super into. I mean, I don't know if we can spoil this or not. I mean, I guess I don't know if it matters or not. But anyways, I played all the way up to Ellie, and then I took over as Abby, and I was just kind of like, this game's okay. But the more I started playing with Abby, the more I was like, okay, I get this now. And they did the impossible, which has only ever happened one other time in my life. And they took a character that I hated so much, and by the end of the game, I was rooting / felt bad for this character. And that's only ever happened with Loki. Because obviously Loki didn't do anything great up until the Loki show happened. But by the time the Loki season ends, I'm just like, this is probably my favorite character in the MCU, honestly. Like, and I think honestly, and this might be a hot take, but I think I might like Abby more as a character than Ellie. And I don't think I would have ever said that. You know what I mean? Because Abby gave Ellie plenty of chances, and Ellie kept fucking up. She just could not let it go.
Yep.
And the condition that you find Abby at the end of the game is so heartbreaking, because she was trying to take care of this kid, and just like, you could tell that she was trying to become a better person throughout the entire game. I don't think I would have felt as strongly about her if they didn't go all the way back and I play forward as her character. I don't think they could have done that. I don't think I would have connected with that character. Justin's so proud of himself at this point.
Yeah, this is a big moment for me.
But I will say that my only complaint about the entire game
Too short.
is I felt like it was too long, honestly. But I feel like there should have been a choice at the end if I wanted to fight Abby. I hated the fact that I cared about Abby, but I had to fight her as Ellie. Like, I was forced to make that decision. Like, even though I didn't want to.
It made sense as far as how, like, it actually ends, though, because it's like, it forces it not to just be how, like, you learning how to deal with it through you playing with her, but it's Ellie learning how to, like, deal with it.
Yeah, and what's crazy to me is the fact that, like, she was trying to get away from, I can't remember, the wolves, right? Only to get captured by another group that I don't think they ever identified as anybody. Like, they were just another group, right?
They have a name. I forget what
but they're not associated with, they're just their own thing, right?
Let me see.
Like, they weren't Isaac's people, I guess is what I was trying to say.
Rattlers.
Yeah, so like, the fact she was trying to flee to a place that she felt was way better just to get captured and put in an even shittier situation. You know what I mean?
It also kind of shows that there is nowhere better.
Oh yeah.
The world is totally screwed up.
And it's all about, like, the cycle of violence, right? And just how you can't let it go. But to your point, the very end, when Ellie tries to play the guitar and she can't, and they put you in the driver's seat where you're trying to strum and you keep missing chords because of that, because she's missing fingers. That just
devastating.
It was devastating. And not only that, I was so confused when she went back to the farm, and, like, obviously nobody was there. All these rooms are empty. I started to, like, think to myself, was this all in her mind at first? And then when she gets to her room and all her stuff is just packed up and left as is, I'm like, I was super deflated. I was like, nope, it was all real, and now she doesn't have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like,
it's not a huge bummer.
It really does. And I try to think to myself, like, two things. One, where would they go from here? Like, would it just be maybe a continuation of Ellie and Abby's story independently of each other? Would it be a completely different story? Like, I almost don't want it to be touched. You know what I mean?
I know where it's going to go.
Oh, do you? Do you want to share or no?
I mean, it's just a theory, but there's only one way it can't go.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think this is purely just fan fiction at this point. But I think if there is a third game, it'll be strictly Ellie's perspective. We won't see Abby. We won't see Lev. Just Ellie. And I think what'll happen is her whole thing was, my life would have mattered if you would have let me die on that table. Right?
Yeah.
My life would have mattered. I could have meant something.
Oh.
I think she's going to try to seek out
somebody to actually make
I think the game will end with her going to sleep, and we'll never know if it worked or not.
Oh, that'd be good.
And I
If not,
love,
that's how the show should end, at least.
yeah, I think that would be fantastic. And I think it's the only way they could really do the story justice. I don't think we need to see Abby and Lev again. I think their story's done.
So do you think the battle will be her getting to the place where they can do the procedure, and that would entail like all these weaving all this stuff in between, and then when
you could even get weird with it, like, oh, they're in Europe or something, and it's like a whole like trek. Like, how do you get there? You know?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like,
I could see. I could buy that.
I can't believe that there's only one doctor left right now. Maybe 20 years have passed, 30 years, I guess, have passed since the original infection. So maybe that's possible. But like, it seems in the realm of possibility that there'd be somebody out there that could do this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that would be a good way to go out. And I think it ending with her falling asleep and we just never know.
Fades to black.
Yeah.
Because her character was going to die anyway if this happened.
Yeah. And just now it's just happened. Yeah. I do have to ask you though, based on everything that happens in the story, do you think in the show, second season, do you think everything's going to play out in the same order that we saw it in the video game? Or do you think based on what happens in the first hour and a half of that game, that people that's not experienced the video game will just peace out? So therefore it's going to be one of those things where they do like leading up to this event and then they flash back, and then by the time the season's over or towards the end, then it flashes forward and then you see what happens within that first hour or two. I don't know how they're going to do it because there is so much flashbacks with like Abby and stuff like that I don't know how they would do that. My prediction is, I'll share my prediction and I'll let you guys say what you want to say, is I think, what if the show opens up with Abby coming in on her dad dead, and everything that we see flashback to that point is the beginning of season 2 leading up, and it doesn't open the same way the second game does, but it opens up with Abby coming in after the aftermath of her dad getting killed, and then instead of
animals and stuff.
Instead of seeing like flashbacks or whatever, like it starts with that. And just
yeah,
that's the only way I can see, because people that haven't played the game after what happens in the first hour and a half, like how many fans are going to drop off?
I think they're going to have a hard time telling the story as the game does. And like, you do that flip to Abby at the second half of the season or the third season, whatever they're going to do it. I think you'll definitely lose viewers, but I think starting the first episode, like with Abby and her dad exploring, freeing, I think it was a zebra that was tied up in barbed wire.
It was
freeing the animal. Owen coming up like, oh, we need you, blah, blah, blah. And then cut to all that. I think that would be a great way to open the first season. You can make a whole episode out of that.
Yeah.
Maybe not a whole episode, but a big episode.
I'm wondering if they can at least stretch out mid-season to what happens to the first character or the character within an hour and a half. And then the back half of the season is dealing with all the aftermath of that, is what I'm thinking is probably what they should do. What do you think, Jared?
I mean, so like I was talking to you about earlier, I definitely think they would lose people. I think, honestly, like you all said, giving Abby a full episode would be, well, almost a full episode would probably be the way to do it, or having, because I just have a hard time thinking about how they would do it in flashbacks, if that makes sense. Just because, like, how am I going to keep the story coherent without, like, people noticing who is missing from the story? If that makes sense.
And there was honestly, and that was one thing I'll say real quick, playing throughout the game, there was way less flashbacks of that character that you're referring to throughout the video game than I thought there would be. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm wondering if they'll try to wait till mid-season before that happens, because I thought all the holes would be filled by flashbacks of that character throughout the game. There is very few. There was a lot less than I thought there was going to be, I should say.
But I think, I mean, we all could be completely wrong, and they could just send it right off the get-go from the first episode to stay true to the game.
I kind of want them to send it, honestly. But I like the idea of opening with Abby first.
But honestly, I mean, just for staying true to the game, like, I'm kind of with you. I would rather them...
Let's pull that Band-Aid off, baby.
Just rip the Band-Aid off. Don't make me wait for it. Just go ahead and do it.
I don't think they can stay true to the game 100%. I think they're going to have to do something.
Because I think if they open with Abby, they can drag a few episodes about drama that happens in town, going on scout missions, whatever. I think they could easily get at least to mid-season before they do that. I think, but all right.
What do we
anything
know?
else? What do we know? Anything else to add before we close out, boys?
I think that's all.
All right. Well, everyone, we want to thank you for listening to episode 172 of Nerds with Mics. As always, please make sure that you like and subscribe. Leave us comments. We would love to hear from you. And then also, more importantly, make sure that you share us with your family and friends. Maybe not your family, maybe just your friends. But until next time, peace. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Nerds with Mics. If you enjoyed today's deep dive into all things nerdy, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please make sure not to forget to leave us a review wherever you listen or watch. Your feedback always helps us grow. And if you know a fellow nerd that would love the show, share it with them. Until next time, stay nerdy, stay awesome, and keep those mics on.